Good morning, board members. Good morning, those who are attending with us. We will go ahead and start.
You might have to do your gavel.
I know. That didn't do any good. Okay. We will begin our meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Board Member Reeby.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, board member message, Vice Chair Elisa Ellis.
Thank you. If you'll please join me for a moment of prayer. Our dear Heavenly Father, we thank Thee for the opportunity that we have to meet together as a State Board of Education with the public and to be able to address issues regarding education in our state. We're thankful for the opportunity that we have to work for the people and for the children of this state, and that we can provide education so desperately needed. We ask Thee to bless us in our capacities today and tomorrow, that we will be able to use wisdom, and that we will be able to think clearly through the things that are presented to us, and that we can remember who we serve. We ask Thee for Thy guidance in our meeting today, and we say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Okay. The introduction of new employees. We'll welcome Michelle Watts. Or Eric.
Michelle's at a meeting right now, so I'll present. So we have two new employees to present to you today. I'll let them introduce themselves and where they work.
My name's Laura Lee Gillespie. I am going to be in compliance and mentoring in the special education department.
My name is Neil Stevens. I'm in the special education unit for Carson Swiss Scholarships and Fiscal Accountability.
Thank you and welcome. Hey, acknowledgement of our student artwork, Kathy Jensen.
Good morning. Thank you, Chair. Last Friday, I had the opportunity through our partnership with University of Utah in the Beverly Taylor Sorensen Arts Learning Program to attend a professional development at Beacon Heights. And as I walked into the building, the walls were covered with artwork. And I said to the BTS specialist there, could I please borrow some of this artwork for the boardroom display? And she said, well, I don't know because I didn't do this artwork. This has been done by the classroom teachers. Now, the reason that I think that's really significant is that it has been the focus of the Beverly Taylor Sorensen Arts Learning Program to provide more and better arts learning for elementary school students. And in order to do that, to increase the capacity of the elementary classroom teacher to deliver that instruction. So on the east wall, from Miss Jardine's class and Miss Wolf's second grade classes, it was also interesting because I got to speak to these particular teachers, and I said, what was your area of integration on this? And she said, oh, we just worked on art concepts on these. So I love that as well. And she said that they worked on line and contrast and color. You see that one class chose the landscape orientation and one class chose the portrait orientation. And I also spoke to a student who happened to be in the office. I said, is any of this artwork yours? And she said, oh yes, we did the mountains and we loved it. The same two classes did the trees. And these, again, studied the art concepts of background, foreground, they did study seasons with these, and they did watercolor wash. They did the trees by taping. That is tape on the watercolor paper. And then once they did the watercolor wash, they took the tape off. What I love about these is the individual choices that students made. I love that one student chose to do nighttime with black and purple and snow, and others chose their colors. So I love the individual part about that. Now, the BTS ALP specialist at Beacon Heights is Lori Shea. She also works at Washington Elementary, which in socioeconomic status is quite a contrast to the Beacon Heights community. The first grade students that she worked with at Washington studied seasons as well, and they have depicted an extinct item that we used to know as the snowman. I think that the cool thing about the snowman that the first graders did is that it's the perspective of a first grader looking up at a giant snowman. So they're in their first grade bodies looking up at that bottom part of the snowman that is huge, and then the head of the snowman is just towering above them. She also did printmaking in the back, and I'm sorry, I don't know the grade, but this is called Frottage Printmaking, and this was an integration project with their study of wetlands. Two other things that I'd like to call your attention to is in the entry room. Also on Friday, I had the opportunity to go to Weber State University, where the partners at Weber State held an integration conference with about 100 elementary classroom educators, giving them these kinds of skills. And as part of their display, they had representations from each of their LEAs. So you will see in this other room, and I hope you'll take time to look at those, not only pictures of the student artwork from each of the LEAs that the Weber State region serves in BTS ALP, but pictures of the actual kids doing the art, which makes them really kid-focused. Later today, I will be going to the Springville Museum of Art to see the opening of the high school art show. So this is where you come in. Throughout the day, I will be sending pictures of the art to Superintendent Dixon, who will then share it for you if you're so inclined to give your opinion on which of the pieces you might like to purchase for the State Board of Education. Remind them that this was one of those pieces. Emma Emerging was purchased last year from the high school art show. So I'm sure there will be just as great work this year. Thanks. Any questions?
Hey, thank you. Hey, we will go to our education highlight with the National Board Certified Teachers. We'd like to welcome David Smith.
Good morning. So I'm David Smith, Leader Effectiveness Specialist in Teaching and Learning, and I also help coordinate the National Board Certification Program. So we've invited several newly certified teachers who went through the National Board Certification Program to come and meet with you this morning. This year we had 13 teachers in the state who finished the process and were awarded certificates. This is a really rigorous process. There are 5 core propositions that the National Board for Professional Teaching Standards has, and teachers are committed to students and their learning. Teachers know the subjects they teach and how to teach those subjects to students. Teachers are responsible for managing and monitoring student learning. Teachers think systematically about their practice and learn from experience, and teachers are members of learning communities. And so these teachers went through a very rigorous process of self-reflection and learning in order to earn this certificate. So we have several of them here this morning, and I'm just going to ask them to come up and quickly introduce themselves. I've told them they have about 1 minute to introduce themselves and just talk about something that they gained through this process of getting the national board certificate. So we'll start with Amber.
Hello, and thank you for having us today. I'm a second grade teacher at Beacon Heights, so when I walked in, I felt so at home looking at all this artwork around. This artwork wasn't from my classroom, but we did the same project, and so it was fun to see that walking in. So I certified in, early to middle childhood in literacy, and that has been my passion since I started teaching, is figuring out the best way to get struggling kids reading, as well as proficient kids reading and thinking more deeply. And a big part of this process was to reflect and assess and ask myself, why am I doing this, and is it effective? And we have mentors that would prompt us and say, but why? Why are you doing this? Why does this work? Why did this not work? And so with about 60 pages of writing and analysis, I'm starting to really think about, this is why I choose to do my practice this way, and this is why this is effective. So anyway, National Board is probably the best professional development I've ever done, because it made me reflect and think and raise my practice. So thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Just realized I didn't say Amber's last name, Amber Callister. Ann Clyde from Canyon School District.
Perfect. My name is Ann Clyde, and I work in Canyons District at Jordan Valley School. I got my certification in exceptional needs birth through high school. So it's a very large span of different ages and different disabilities. I was really grateful that I had such a wonderful class that I focused on for my national board with severe and mild moderate disabilities. So I was really able to reflect my practice, which helped me greatly just to see why I was doing what I was doing, really reflect on what worked, what didn't work, and what I could do next time. So I really appreciated the time that I was able to spend in my classroom and really work on doing that analysis about why I was doing what I was doing and collaborating with many other people. So thank you so much for recognizing all of us today through all of our hard work. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Ann. Next is Jennifer Colonia from Salt Lake City School District.
Good morning. My name is Jennifer Colonna, and I teach second grade at Emerson Elementary. And I had the pleasure to go through the process with Amber. We started the process 3 years ago together as National Board began to rewrite and reconstruct the program. So we chose to do the really tedious 3-year torture, which I don't recommend, but it was really insightful because I had the time over 3 years to really reflect on my practice, and I got to work with different students each year. So it wasn't the same group, and I got to really highlight different aspects, each component. I think the thing that I really walked away from was an affirmation for myself that I truly love what I do, and I enjoy every day coming to my classroom and getting to work with my students. So thank you for your recognition this morning and your time. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. Next is Rock Frampton from Granite School District.
I'm a pottery teacher at Hunter High School in West Valley City, and the National Board Certification was a really, it was a great experience for me, and what it did as an art teacher is that it forced me to open the walls of my classroom and invite the community in. That was a big portion of what I did. As a pottery teacher, we participated, my students, in the Empty Bowls charity event that goes on every year that helps feed the homeless, and we invited the families of our students to come after school and to throw pots and to glaze their work, and then we went and delivered it, and we got to see, and my students got to see kind of the full spectrum of what art can do for community. And it was really, as everyone else has said, a very reflective thing for me, and helped me to see why I'm doing what I'm doing and how it helps the students and will help them moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Rock. Next is Carrie Johnson from Salt Lake City School District.
Hello, I'm a math coach, elementary math coach for Salt Lake City School District. I work at Edison and Escalante Elementary. And although I focus most of my time on math, I actually certified middle childhood generalist, which is 3rd through 6th grade. And I was able to adopt a 3rd grade and 5th grade classroom to go in and do my lessons and my filming. And this process, like a lot of my colleagues have said, it's a very rigorous, very reflective process. The big takeaway I had is just how collaborative teaching is. You're not an island, you're not alone. To reach out, plan with your colleagues, reflect with your colleagues, analyze student work with your colleagues. This process just reinforced how important that is. So thank you.
Thank you, Carrie. Next is Kathy Smith from Granite School District.
Good morning. I did the special ed certification for birth to adulthood. I teach at Benyon Junior High, and I am the math teacher, Math 7, Math 8, Math 9. Doing the National Board Certification really helped me, even after many years of teaching already, to refine my process. And I didn't plan to take 3 years to do it, but I had to wait for every component to be rewritten. But I think that was a good idea, because it really, you could really zone in on each component. I'm grateful for the opportunity to be here to share the idea that we still are lifelong learners, and grateful for the opportunity to refine my process. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. And we also have Louise Wisner from Salt Lake City School District.
My name is Louise Wisner, and I teach at Highland High School. I am a math teacher. And one of the things that I really appreciated about the national board process was not just my self-reflection, but also engaging my students in self-reflection. Math is oftentimes a subject where students just want to just do the process and not think about why. And so taking the time to really reflect for myself how I could engage my students was one of the most valuable lessons I learned from that process. So thank you for having us.
Thank you, Louise. Now, are there any others who came? Okay, I just want to talk about, just very quickly, there are several others who weren't able to make it this morning because they're teaching. You know what, these are also people who were teaching, were able to arrange things, but others were not. So we have Jill Buxbaum from Salt Lake City School District, who did a generalist in middle childhood. Matthew Nagel from Park City School District with certification in English Language Arts. We have Cheryl Lassig from Salt Lake City School District with the certification in Literacy and Reading Language Arts. Lise Rametta from Park City School District, generalist in middle childhood. Louis Philippe Vanier from a charter school. I don't know which charter, I'm sorry. Science in Adolescence and Young Childhood. And Stephen Katita from Park City School District in the English Language Arts. So those are our National Board Certified Teachers for 2017. Thank you.
Superintendent Dixon wanted to make a comment.
Yeah, thank you for indulging me. I just want to give a shout out to these teachers. I'm so proud of them. And being nationally board certified is one of the most powerful forms of professional development that an educator can engage in. It's a very rigorous process. And I'm thinking back to Rock's predecessor at Hunter High, who was one of the first national board certified teachers in our state. And there was a small cadre for many years that tried to get this process going. And from our office, we had funds to support it, and those it was privately funded, and they went away. And there was some legislative funding years ago that went away. And so these teachers are really out there trying to do this on their own, and it's something that many states really invest in, and ours does not. So I'm really proud of these teachers for moving forward, and their districts and charters for supporting them. I also want to make note that they will be recognized, I think it's, David, February 8th, maybe, I have the date wrong. The 9th, thank you. They will be recognized at the legislature. They are paraded around and applauded at both the Senate and the House. And it's really an exciting day to watch the legislature honor them as well. So thank you to the board for recognizing them this morning and understanding this rigorous and important process of professional learning. We know that it will improve outcomes for kids, so thank you.
Are there any questions from board members for our teachers that are here? Board Member Cannon.
Oh, I just want to congratulate them because I know this is a long, hard, and involved process, and I think they are the cream that really has risen to the top, and they've done it without a lot of state support. They've done it and become truly the top professionals in our state, where we have some wonderful professionals. So thank you so much for all your work, and we surely want to acknowledge and appreciate you.
Board Member Reby.
Thank you so much for your service. I think that it's great that you have taken this on. I've looked into it myself, and I didn't do that path. But I think you also bring a lot of skills to your schools. So you're also improving your schools, not just your classes, and you're improving the people around you by reflecting on your practice. So thank you so much for all the work you've done.
And Superintendent Dixon just pointed out that some of our employees also are nationally certified, such as Diana Sudreth, who works in our teaching and learning department. And so we also have some amazing rock stars working here. And, okay, Board Member Ellis or Vice Chair Ellis.
Thank you. Congratulations. I had a question. I don't know who would want to answer it, but during a committee last month, we talked about this process, and I just wanted to know what your biggest obstacles were to overcome in trying to achieve this. Superintendent Dixon suggested Kathy.
Since you're right there on the front row, do you mind? Watch where you sit, Kathy.
I wasn't nervous enough the first time. Obstacles, well, there's just time, but we all have that. I felt very supported by Luann in our district. Desi, I went with the Salt Lake instruction. We had classes a few times during the year to kind of support us and make sure that we were still working on it. I wouldn't really see there are obstacles. I mean, it's just something that you pick to do, and I didn't. I mean, embarrassingly enough, I didn't tell my staff I was working on it, other than my principal and the our tech person, because she helped me upload all the plethora of videos that I had to do. But just in case I didn't make it, I be kind of embarrassed. But what's really nice, like the district came out and a surprise to me and gave me gifts and accolades last Friday, and then my staff knew, everybody knew. But what really warmed my heart was teachers came up to me and going, I was thinking of doing it, what should I do? And so I think there's 5 teachers that I've got on board to try to do this now. And so I appreciate the district coming out and acknowledging that I completed this, because it gave the staff, like, wow, maybe I could do that too. And so I think we just need to be encouraging of our peers and saying, this is worth it, go for it. And you can do it in 1 year now. So, and I'll just be supporting the teachers I work with to take on this. So I don't know if that's what you wanted. But
Thank you.
May I make one more comment?
Yes, please.
So just two things, just really quickly. Just a quick correction. We do have the opportunity, and it's on the books for these teachers to apply for reimbursement of their fees. So that was passed in the legislature last year. As teachers who certify after July 1st, 2016 can apply for reimbursement of their fees, which is great because this is an expensive process. These teachers paid quite a bit for that. And then the other thing I wanted to say was many of these teachers brought guests with them, principals and grandparents and parents. Maybe we could recognize them as well. The people, and if they could stand. Oh, sure.
I'll be super fast. Did you
Let's
recognize?
recognize these folks. Thank you. Anne would like to make a comment. Is that all right?
Thank you. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Super fast. I just want to talk about what the challenge was. I had to rewrite 2 components. I went through all of it with writing a component. One was focused on one student directly, which was asked in the component, and I thought it was beautiful. Through the whole thing of writing it, I thought it was very reflective, and when it came down to the end and I read it again, I was like, oh no, this was not it. It's not what I want to submit. So then I focused on a different student working on with his behaviors and trying to come up with a very systematic behavior intervention plan that luckily helped him immensely within the classroom and then helped all together. But I think that was one of the biggest challenges, that I had to rewrite a couple of things. But overall, through all of these rewrites and all of these reflections of going through the process and reanalyzing, it totally helped my practice. There was nothing that stopped. So even the biggest challenge was not that big at all. And it had such a huge outcome to overcome something that I thought would maybe be a stumbling block. So truly, I mean, I don't feel like there was a super big challenge other than the time aspect and then the waiting for the scores. That was number one, probably what was super hard. So thank you for asking that question. What a great question to ask.
Okay, thank you very much for joining us today, and thank you for your time. I want to especially thank Mr. Frampton, who was my daughter's pottery teacher. So, woohoo! so fantastic. So thank you for coming, and thank you for the time that you spent accomplishing this. And so if you guys don't mind stepping outside, we'd love to have a picture. So not that we were asking you to leave, but we'd love to get your picture. So.